Has started.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March 22nd meeting of the Select Board. Under RSA 91A, Emergency Provisions, as Vice Chair of the Barrington Select Board, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the Governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the Governor's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note, there is no physical location to observe or listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the Governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access provided by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing Microsoft Teams for this electronic meeting. All members of the Select Board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting. Phone participation may be achieved by dialing 603-664-0240 and entering conference ID 676-749-973 #. And video participation can be achieved by accessing the link that can be found on the town's website, bit.ly/BARRSB. We are providing public notice of this necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting, including how to access the meeting using Microsoft Teams. Instructions have also been provided on the website of the town of Barrington at www.barrington.nh.gov. Providing a mechanism for the public, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anybody has a problem, please dial 603-664-0146 or email at administration@barrington.nh.gov. Adjourning the meeting if the public is unavailable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unavailable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting with taking attendance. If everyone could please state their presence, please state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under Right to Know.
Daniel Air, 334 Old Concord Turnpike. There's no one here that was in my boat. I'm by myself, and I'm locked in my office.
George Bailey, 19 Chesley Drive. I'm in my office by myself. My wife is downstairs with a cat. There's nobody here to influence my vote.
Jim Sakosha, 21 James Henry Drive, Barrington. I'm home with my parents are here tonight, but they're in the other room and they will not be influencing my vote.
Dan Mantrek, 353 Scruton Pond Road. I'm currently here at home alone. No one here to influence my vote. My wife may come in later, but she will be in a separate room, will not influence my vote.
And Andrew Knapp, 96 Lindsay Point Road. And currently I am the only one in the house. All right, if everyone would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have no public hearings this evening. Under appointments, we have the welcoming of our new select board member, Dan Mantrek. So welcome to the board.
Hi, Dan.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you, gentlemen. In this case, all gentlemen, but thank you to the citizens of the city or the town.
Dan, would you prefer to be called Dan or Dannon?
I think since we already have another Dan on the board, Dannon will be fine. That'll differentiate us.
All right.
I have an objection to that. Mind your elders and stuff. I'd rather have him called me Dan. You call me Dan E. That's why I've gone with it my whole life. So I would prefer to be called Dan E. And then like the separators or select person A.
All righty.
I don't. Does that feel all right with everyone?
Yeah, that's okay with me. I just didn't want to interrupt and get in your way here since you've been
Respect
here
your
longer
elders.
than me.
All right. 20 select board organizations. So making a decision on the organizational structure of the board, looking at a chairman and a vice chairman. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Andy for the chair.
I'll second that.
All right.
I'll third it.
And I'll vote for it. So there.
Okay. Well, I think by consensus, that has been decided, with the exception of my consensus. Opening the floor for vice chairman.
And you got to take roll call vote. 'cause
Oh,
we're
sorry.
virtual. No, it's okay.
Roll call vote for it.
Haley, aye.
Sakoshai.
Mantrek, aye.
All right. And Knapp abstains. Or I guess as my normal thing would be reluctantly aye.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good word, yeah.
All right. Opening the floor for the vice chair person.
I nominate myself.
All right. Any other nominations?
I'll nominate myself.
Okay. Second. That way we've got it on the floor. So there's two
Second.
candidates.
I'll second both those for discussion.
Okay. Discussion.
I'm in a meeting.
Off to a big start here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. Is all right. Discussion around the vice chair position of the select board. Would either of the viable candidates like to take the soapbox for a minute? Select person there.
I want to select the board and the public. I am going through medical problems right now, and I have no answers. And again, I don't need any help. Things are making things worse. People trying to help me. We gotta let the doctors do their job and stuff. So for the next 6 months, I will probably be out of work. I'll have the time. So I don't need the pressure either, too. On the other hand, though, but I'm offering my time. I have no problem with Jim being vice chair either. And I will ask the board. I'd like to be a observationist for the board for the town hall. I'd rather do that. It's more important to me than vice chair. I need a promise to the people to bring it in on budget, and I will take observation and do no through the town administrator and through the board. I can give wisdom to the board. I've done construction all my life, and I know what it costs to earn $1 and pay for $1. So I'm willing to step down as vice chair if I can have the permission of the board to be a full-time observationist for the town hall.
I think we could probably solve that by having you on the building committee. I know George is there and I'm there, and if need be, I don't mind stepping away from that since I will have an expanded role here as the chairman of the board.
So as a wish of the board for the chair, I will vote for Jim if the board feels he's better for the time where I'm going through. I appreciate the town. Thank you.
Andy, I'd be in favor of that if that's what you feel you want to do.
I have no hard feelings with that, and I'm fine with it. My general sense is I would like to make sure that Mr. Ayer has adequate time to focus on his health and his recovery. If he is doing that by being actively involved in the building committee piece of it, then if he needs to, he can take a break when and where he needs to, so he doesn't have to worry about the responsibilities of the vice chair.
I agree.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Excellent
All right.
for myself.
So roll call vote for Mr. Sakosha as vice chair of the board.
Air I.
Bailey, aye.
Mantrek, aye.
Scotia.
And Nap aye. All right.
Congratulations, both of you.
Thanks.
I don't know if that's serious or sarcastic.
No, it's serious. I'm ready. I'm excited.
All righty. Good deal. So part of our responsibility is the 2021 committee, commission, and board appointments, and we are responsible for appointing the membership of committees, commissions, and boards to terms that may apply. In everyone's packet should be a list of appointments for terms that expire in 2021 and folks or incumbents that would wish to be reappointed. And then I'm assuming, Mr. Administrator, that we have to go one at a time and vote on each one.
Nope. If similar to a consent agenda, the list hasn't changed since the last two meetings when presented. If the board's interested, a motion to make the appointments as indicated in the appointments for terms expiring in 2021, a second and a roll call vote will be sufficient.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Sorry. See, I was trained already. Mr. Chairman, I would like to make that motion. I
All right.
apologize. Jeez.
Select
Second.
person there.
Discussion.
Do we need to go into non-public for discussion, or is it acceptable?
No, it's just me personally. I feel I'm best suited on the conservation and the town lands. I have a good communication between everyone there. And now with the building committee, that's all I can take on. The library needs to be settled out somehow. Someone on the library.
Okay, well, we'll get to that when we talk about our board. Right now, these are just appointments and terms for the people that are here.
Can we interrupt? Can I interrupt? Can
Yep.
we get is it going to go Dan, George, Mantrek, Sakosha, then you?
Let's do it alphabetical would be my
Okay.
recommendation.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure that was clear for everybody.
Good point.
Thank you.
All right.
Great vice chair. Stepping up to the plate as vice chair. I love it.
Oh,
I was
Cream and
just
sugar?
okay. So we have appointments, we have terms, we have a motion, a second. Any need for discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Air I.
Bailey, aye.
Mantrek, aye.
Sakosha.
Nap aye. All right. Now, select board appointments.
Public comment.
Am I jumping ahead here?
Yes. Select board appointments is under old business. Third item under old business.
I got too many pieces of paper in front of me right now. Ah, yes, there we go. Now I'm looking at the agenda, not the administrator's report and all the other paper I have piled up in front.
Now that you're chair, I'll include every item from the agenda in the report. Tracy requested that the things that don't need to be in the TA report don't be in there. So like if we don't have public hearings, don't list it at all. But you had previously asked for the opposite. So I'll go back to that now that you're the formal chair.
It's fine either way. I just got to make sure I stay on point. All right. So public comment, I will open up public comment. Reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person for a total of 15 minutes. Mr. Bailey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to let everybody know that our family had a little incident in the house and it required the services of the ambulance of the town. And they came out to the house to provide assistance to my wife. And I must tell you, when they came in to the house, it was just like watching somebody in an orchestra. the two individuals that came were just like watching music. They just took care of my wife, got her loaded up, and it was just fantastic. And I've also passed this on to Rick, but I will say this publicly: I am just so grateful for the people we have there. Thank you.
Very good. There's a Mr. Don Bucher, I believe. Pardon me if I'm slaughtering your
Nope,
name.
you got it right. Thank you very much. Don Bucher from Franklin Pierce Highway. I forgot a couple of thank yous. I appreciate all the work that you guys have done and will do leading our town. I looked through all the materials that Connor's posted online, and Connor, they were very easy to read and follow and understand what's going on. And bringing me to my request, or you may not talk about it tonight, but in the board goals was a discussion about paving and stuff. And I'm not concerned that this doesn't get discussed tonight, but I would like to ask the board and the road agent to really consider fixing the pavement going into the transfer station.
All right.
Thank you.
Not a problem. I don't see anyone else. I'll give it 30 more seconds. All right, seeing nothing else, I will close public comment. Review of meeting minutes. Any comments on the meeting minutes for March 8th? Hearing
Move to
none,
accept.
I was just going to say I'll look for a motion to accept them.
There,
You-
I,
Hold on a second. Bailey made the motion. I will second the motion. Roll call vote.
there, I,
Bailey, aye.
Mantrek abstaining. I wasn't at that meeting.
No
Koshak.
problem. And Napa. All right. Staff reports.
Welcome, Mr. Mantrek. Glad to have you on the board. Look forward to working together. And everything else I have is an agenda item.
Okay. Municipal Office Administrator Cottle.
Sorry about that. Just a few things for signature. The meeting minutes that were just approved. Payroll manifest 2021-103. 9 oaths. All the ones that were just approved. Payroll. Oh, these are outstanding items. Payroll 2021-111. AP 2021-212. And 1 land use tax warrant. That's it.
All right.
I don't think that's Tiffany's dog. I couldn't see who was lighting up, or I would have muted them.
I hope it's not my dog because I am in town hall right now. My dog's like 6 miles away. So hope not.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's my dog. My wife came home. She will not be in the same room. And she'll take care of the dog.
Awesome.
All right.
I hope she'll only feed it.
Might feed me to it.
All right. Moving into old business. 2021 goal setting.
So this is largely the same document the board has reviewed a couple of times. I did have one addition in working with Select Board member Sakosha under goal number 1, letter I, added to support the planning department to encourage and attract economic development and commercial growth in the commercial zoning districts.
All right.
I have no objection to that, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments? Mr. Mantrek, I know being new to the board, these are developed early in the year so that department heads can make goals that support our select board goals and objectives for the town. Do you have any comment or anything you would like to add?
No, I've reviewed the document, and I think those are fine goals. I don't have any changes or suggestions at this point. Thanks.
All right. Motion to adopt these as our 2021 select board goals.
Air.
Motion made from Select Person Air,
Second,
seconded.
Nantrick, second.
All right, roll call vote.
Air I.
Bailey, aye.
Nantrick, aye.
Sakosha.
Nap aye. All right, town meeting ballot session results. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to look at the ballot session results. Also, there was an incident with a resident related to the election results, which I will turn over to our town administrator to talk about.
Definitely. So first of all, I want to thank everybody that came out to vote. We had a number of absentee ballots, and we also had a number of folks come out to vote in person. Although the turnout was less than we've experienced in recent years, we've reflected a lot on that, and I think there were likely many contributing factors, including the lack of large issues or bond articles on the warrant as we've experienced recently. The pandemic likely played a role, even though the absentee ballot voting was opened up just as it was in the elections last year. But we are very appreciative of the folks that did come out to vote, and certainly if anybody has suggestions for ways or things the town can do to help inform voters and get them out to vote, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly or others at the town hall to make those suggestions. Certainly we make every effort to encourage folks to come out to vote, but we obviously can't capture everybody, and so always happy to hear suggestions. As it relates to an error that was made on voting day, I think, we obviously, the town takes our role in processing the results of all elections, whether state, federal, or local elections, very seriously. And part of that is being open and transparent when we miss the mark, albeit in small and very specific situations. So attached to the report is a memo describing the situation in more detail for anybody that's interested in seeing it. Essentially, a resident asked for permission to bypass the established voting procedures. And in doing so, asked that his vote be hand counted. That vote was misorganized at the end of the night and not added to the hand count pile, but to the write-in pile, which because the ballots had a write-in vote on them. And so essentially that resident's vote that resident's votes were not included in the end of night tallies. And because of the level of detail that we published the results by machine and by hand count, fortunately that resident was able to identify that and allow us to identify and investigate the error. It was human error that was isolated. It was investigated to a level of confidence that there was no widespread issues or other concerns that we had based on the investigation. But it did happen. We made mistakes, and we intend to take the steps listed in the write-up to make sure something like that doesn't happen again. We may follow up with the select board later in the year with the finalization of those steps that we're taking. So essentially the decision to accept that vote as a hand count and not go through the machines violated our established procedure. So we would have been within our right to refuse the resident from that request. And in this situation, that would have resulted in his ballot being counted, albeit through the machine. So we've reached out to the town's attorney seeking guidance on whether allowing exceptions for hand counts or holding residents to the established procedure of using the machines, if there's any case law or guidance either way on that. And we may come back to the select board before finalizing that specifically. But like I said, I think it's important that we're transparent to the select board and to the community. And so those are the circumstances, the steps we've taken so far. And I'm happy to answer any additional questions the board may have.
Any questions from Any members of the board? I've had a fairly lengthy conversation with Connor on this already.
Did what we did not violate anybody's rights, or we didn't violate the law? We did everything correctly?
Well, no, I mean, we made a mistake. We self-reported the situation to the Secretary of State's office. They
Yep.
provided guidance in how to prevent a mistake like that in the future. And we worked with our attorney, understanding what the error that was made was. The attorney advised that no further steps are necessary. And so, we've done everything that we're required to do by statute, which we weren't required to do either one of those, incidentally. But so I believe that answers your question.
Thank you. I really would, I'm not here to raise any difficulty. I just want to make sure that if somebody else brings it up to me in the public, I can say that it was correct and we did go to the state. Thank you very much, Connor.
Absolutely.
I believe that person's votes were counted, just not registered in the right place.
One of the votes that were counted. The only vote that was counted was the hand count vote. The votes on articles were not counted because they didn't go through the machine and because it didn't make it through the hand count pile. And we've been in close contact with the resident. We certainly appreciate him bringing it to our attention. And we believe that we've provided a level of detail to his satisfaction. He hasn't stated otherwise, but he was very helpful in helping us identify what went wrong.
Connor, one question I did have out of it, and I didn't see anything in the note, and it wasn't it was a question I hadn't asked last week when you and I were speaking on it. Is there a way to be able to tally up the total ballots submitted versus the number of people who are logged in plus the absentee ballots and match that number?
Yes, so that's done after every election. So I think what you're talking about is verifying the number of essentially check marks on the voter checklist with the total number of votes.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's done after every election.
Okay, but this wasn't missed because it was still counted for that one vote, not the rest of them.
Right, and it's not, that's done as part of our voting processing, so that information isn't available before we leave for the night. And that's actually one of the reasons you may see in the news about electronic voter registration books. And so New Hampshire, you're only allowed to have one voter registration list. And that's so that you make sure that if somebody's crossed off on one list, they're not on another list. And so a lot of states and a couple of communities in New Hampshire use electronic voter lists, which allow any voter to go to any one ballot clerk to get their ballots and go, opposed to going by letter. And so that's something that the state is evaluating rolling out to all communities. And so something like that would allow us more real-time reporting of how many folks have checked in and how many ballots we've collected. But like I said, right now it's all done on paper, check marks on paper, pursuant to the state's guidelines. And so we don't have those numbers until after the fact, essentially.
Select Person Bailey.
Thank you. Connor, if we were to go to that system, what would the cost be to us, the town?
Yeah, so it's unclear. I mean, first
Okay.
it would have to be an approved method by the state, and similar to the electronic voting tablets or machines. It could be something that the state provides because we're responsible for carrying out the state elections. So it's unclear if there would be a specific cost to the town or not. But I'm happy to provide additional information as it becomes available.
Well, we have information ahead of time, so when September rolls around and we start doing our budget, if we have information then to see whether or not we have to put it in, or if the state's going to do it. Is that something that's possible?
It's possible. I mean, it depends on the timeline of the state to approve the methodology, but absolutely, we will continue to follow it closely.
Very good. All right. Any further discussion on that, or are we ready to move on? Hearing none, I will move on. Select board committee assignments. So
Oh,
there are
okay.
currently, including the select board, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 12 committees. Transfer Station and Recycling Committee meets on Monday at 2:30 p.m. And there are 18 meetings per year. Tracy was doing that role before, or on that board before.
I have no interest. I'd with the rec.
Okay,
I can do that.
okay. All right. So I have Dannon. Rec Committee,
I'll take that.
Jim. Select Board is all of us. Technology Committee has been me. So I will stay with that. Advisory Budget Committee.
I've been on that committee for a couple of years and, I'm leaving it because I'm a select board, but I could stay. I would like to stay with that committee if that's okay with everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Stay on as the liaison.
Yeah.
School Board.
I'd like to do that too, if I could. No one objects.
No?
Not at all. Planning Board. I will stay on the Planning Board. Library Trustees.
I'd like to stay there, please.
Oh, no way.
George, how many years in a row is this?
This would be, I think, my second year, maybe the third.
All right. Trails Committee.
The select board hasn't traditionally had a representative to the Trails Committee, so I don't think that that's necessary, but certainly if somebody wanted to, they could.
That's discussed and stuff, so I can get follow-ups on it. So I can do a follow-up of that and the conservation and town lands. 3. They all go together.
Great.
If you want it, Dan, take it.
I have no objection.
All right. ZBA, George.
Yep.
Conservation Commission, I'm assuming would be Dan.
Yes. Danny.
Dan
E.
Dan E. And then the Town Lands Committee,
Danny.
Mr. Air.
Yes.
And Andy, the only thing that I would suggest is an alternate for the planning board if you're unable to participate in a meeting.
Yes, Dan E. or Mr. Air said he would volunteer as the alternate.
Oh, awesome.
When we were going down through the list. Or is that
Sorry, I missed that.
Do you, I mean, you've got 3 items there, select person Air. Do you want to do it, or would I be better suited?
Well, can we put Jim on the planning board too? Can we have 2 alternates? Or I'd rather, that takes a lot of time. And conservation and trails and town lands, that all just go together. Plus, I'm on the building committee, so I can't do the board anymore. The planning board.
Okay.
Okay.
And Jim, did you say you'd be the alternate to the planning board?
Yes.
Awesome.
Very good. All right.
Good work.
Moving right along here. Deer Ridge Tree Trimming bid award. Connor, you want to?
I'm actually going to request that we extend that to secure more bids so we can have a competitive process.
Very good. So we will
So
move
did we
that.
get one person that quoted it or 2?
Yeah, so we received 3 quotes during the budget process, but we submitted it for a sealed bid process, hoping to get at least the same 3, and we did not, and so we'd like to give them more time so we can get all 3. It's you. I mean, I'm
Oh,
preaching
yeah.
to the choir. It's a busy time of year, so
Yeah.
we want to respect that.
We're just trying to make sure that we abide by our own purchasing process.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Do we need to formally table this motion or this item?
A formal table isn't necessary. I'll bring it forward just as an administrative action.
All right. Okay, moving on to the acquisition of the UTV that was approved by voters. So the voters approved it. I guess what is our next step with this here?
Yep. So what we're requesting or suggesting, looking to have support for the select board for this process or methodology. A subcommittee will be formed with one police officer and one firefighter to begin developing the specifications, which will be bid out. Those specifications will be provided to the select board before bidding. But so once they develop a specification, we'll bid it out. And the select board will make the final decision for selecting the purchase of the UTV and equipment. Concurrently, that subcommittee will also begin developing a memorandum of understanding between the police department and the fire department pursuant to the use of the UTV, maintenance, storage, cost budgeting, things like that. So we intend to move forward with the process, but I wanted to make sure that the select board was comfortable with that process and methodology.
Select person Sakosha?
I'm all good for it. And if they want some help picking up things or have questions or whatever, I'm here to help.
Awesome.
I was going to make the suggestion, maybe since select person Sakosha is such an active ATV and outdoor enthusiast, he might be a good resource to be part of that selection process or to participate with the police and fire on that. And then when we are ready to discuss it as a board, we could further discuss it that way.
Yeah, so maybe we can have the specifications maybe pre-screened by select person Sakosha before we bring it to the board as a whole.
Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate your availability for that.
No
All
problem.
right. Okay. Moving into new business, the American Rescue Plan Act and the latest round of stimulus money. So I will let you elaborate on all of that, Connor.
Yeah, so this is just for the board's information, the community's information. We certainly expect much more information to come, but this is the information that's available. So as you know, March 11th, the president signed the latest aid package relative to the coronavirus pandemic. Not only did this provide direct payments to some families in stimulus checks, also did things like raise the child tax credit and pave the way for student loan forgiveness, and really it was a far-reaching piece of legislation. Part of that included additional aid to government entities. So the last round of CARES Act money went to the state, was administered at the state level down to local governments. So the town of Barrington received in total CARES Act money about $350,000. Direct support through the governor's office for resource recovery was about 224, and then we pursued additional grant opportunities and were able to secure quite a few others. So in this package, the aid is actually going, I'll say straight to municipalities. It's still passing through the state, but the state isn't responsible for administering or anything like that. So right now, the estimate is we'll end up with about $920,000 over 2 years. By the letter of the law, the first payment is due within 90 days of March 11th. They have 60 days to get it to the state, and the state has 30 days to get it to us. There is tremendous speculation on what the Treasury guidance will be on the use of the money. The four categories that are listed are the pieces that are immediately clear, but we suspect that there will be much more details on how we can use those funds. The second round, the second 50% will be delivered no sooner than a year after the first payment. So essentially, we'll have about $500,000 this year and about $500,000 next year available to us for specific purposes. Right now, it seems like we'll have to spend most of that money on eligible projects, infrastructure or otherwise, but we may also be able to supplement lost revenue as appropriate, which would be more direct impact to taxpayers in town. So I'll continue to follow it close and report back to the select board, but some promising information about aid available to the town of Barrington.
Very good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda under new business, the Conservation Commission would like to make a donation to the Layton Forest, which is being acquired by Southeast Land Trust in support of the town of Stratford and other funding sources. There is a portion of that is in the town of Barrington as well. They are aware of the obligation with Richardson Pond Dam and expect to, or I'm sorry, Richardson Pond Dam, and are expecting to see some reimbursement money for the Goodwill expansion. With it, they would like to donate $10,000 to the Layton Forest project. Select Person Air.
Well, I'll make it very transparent that my corporation is going to bid on the Goodwill Richardson Dam and stuff as soon as engineering is done. So I get good competitive bids and save town money any way I can. And then I would not attend this meeting about the $10,000 awarded to the Layton project and stuff. So I will not make comment on that because I was not there in the discussion. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. Would anyone else like to add comment?
Chairperson Knapp, just one additional thing. So I think it's important to note that because the town isn't acquiring any property interest, the select board is not required to sign off on this expenditure. But as a sign of good faith from the Conservation Commission, it's very important to them to continue building and maintaining a strong relationship with the select board. When they made the decision to make that donation of $10,000, they conditioned it on support of the select board. They want to make sure that the select board is supportive of what they're doing. Like I said, to continue the bridge building that has happened over the past year or so. So would be looking for a motion and a vote from the select board to essentially ratify this decision that they made.
That is wonderful news to hear. Hang on one second. I'm pleased to hear that that we've had such a good relationship with them, and that they're doing everything they can to make sure they're engaging the board in the decisions of the town. Select Person Air.
I thank you, Connie, for helping me on this. That helps out me a lot. But I could not see something that I was not there for. But they ratified my vote. I will support the motion to support it.
So I will take it as Select Person Air has made a motion. I will second the motion. Roll call vote.
Air aye.
Bailey, no.
Mantrek, aye.
Sakosha, aye.
Knapp, aye.
Thank you.
Right. Motion passes 4-1.
Oh, sorry, Dan. Did I put your hand up or down?
It's up.
Do you mean for it to be up, Dan?
No.
Dan E. Select
He's
Person
just so excited to see everybody.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the Finance and Human Resource Administration position. And again, I will let our town administrator talk about the position of Finance and Human Resource Administration.
Awesome, thank you. So as most of you know, but for the community's benefit, our Human Resources Administrator will be moving on with another career decision. Her last day in Barrington will be March 25th. So special thank you to Lynn Murphy for her years of service to the town of Barrington. She will continued to be a resident, and I'm sure an engaged resident at that. So we look forward to interfacing with her as a service provider, opposed to an employer, and wish her well in her next career adventure. So as it relates to the position, as we do with any position that turns over, it's a great opportunity to evaluate the current and expected future needs of the town, review the essential position functions, and make a determination if any changes are warranted. The select board has delegated to me the authority to make changes to positions up to 30% of the essential position functions, which I'm appreciative of, and has been a productive and an efficient tool to make the updates necessary to positions, especially when they turn over. As it relates to these positions, or this position, this is relatively recent, and I have not completed my complete review, but I have been working a lot on what I think would be in the town's best interest. I believe right now we have a finance administrator position and a human resources administrator position, and they're graded the same. There's a lot of backup and redundancy between the two positions, which is tremendous, especially in a small organization like this. Previously, the town had the same two positions. One was, I think, titled at the time a finance director. One was titled at the time a finance officer. And so they are graded separately, one with higher level of responsibility, one with lower level of responsibility. I've talked to a lot of administrators and managers across the state. That model in the finance and human resources roles is pretty consistent throughout municipalities of a similar size to Barrington, having the one position of higher level of responsibility, one supporting position of a little bit lower level of responsibility. And so, although I haven't come to that conclusion yet, I think it's reasonable that I may conclude that would be what's in Barrington's best interest, revert back to that model. And so the request of the select board, why I'm bringing this to the select board right now, is if I were to do that, I would want to regrade the positions to correspond with the responsibility. So whereas they're both right here, probably bringing one up a grade, one down a grade. And like I said, I certainly haven't come to the conclusions, but that's an option that's on the table. And if that were to be what I believe is in the town's best interest, the select board has not delegated to me the authority to regrade positions. My request to the select board is that for this situation, you delegate that authority to me, conditioned on having a budget neutral impact. So within the approved budget, the select board and ultimately the voters approved the budget that we're operating under right now. And so within those confines, allowing me to make the adjustments that I deem necessary with the positions in order to meet the town's need. The primary reason for that request is timing. The board doesn't meet again until April 12th. And so if we followed the more traditional model of fully developed job descriptions going before the board to regrade, I would be concerned about maintaining a vacancy for that long because, it would still be another month, 3 weeks, and then a review process to hire somebody after that. So I'd like to get going. That's the specific request from the select board, and I'm happy to answer any questions to support the select board's decision making.
Connor, I'll let Mr. Select Person Bailey go first. He had his hand up.
Thank you very much. One of the things I think that needs to be done on here is we're so anxious to move forward, and I don't mean this to be detrimental in any way I'm saying it, but it's the word I selected. I think that if the chair and the vice chair don't mind, to meet with you on different occasions, and I'd be willing to go along with the chair and the vice chair's recommendation to move this along before we just move forward with it. So I think that, with your recommendations and sitting down with the chair and the vice chair, allow them to have the final say to move this on so we can get a person. I think I would feel better, not that it has nothing to do with confidence, but I would feel better if it were to take that kind of lead with it. Thank you. Thanks, Andy.
Yep. My question is, are these going to be part-time positions?
No, they're both full-time positions now. They would stay full-time positions. So the FTE would stay the same.
So you're looking at utilizing already an already resourced staff person for the finance end of it?
Yeah, so we still have a finance administrator, happy, working for the town. And so any that employee's position, responsibility, essential position functions would be one of the position functions that would change. And so, like when you change any positions, that could be something that's satisfactory to the employer or not. But it's our job to do what's in the best interest of the community and establishing the duties and responsibilities that are best.
Sorry, I'm just getting a lot of background noise here from
Same.
someone moving around. All right, and then the human resources position is the position that ultimately we'd be putting out to hire.
So like I said, there's no final decision that's been made yet. The option that's on the table that would require board action would be to consolidate the high-level responsibilities of both the finance and human resources position into one combined finance/human resources administrator, and have a separate position that's a deputy finance and human resources administrator. That's the model that's pretty common in communities, and that's what Barrington has had previously. And so like I said, the higher level responsibilities of both positions would be combined.
I'm just struggling with how do we bring this in as budget neutral?
So because if you have one set of responsibilities that's increasing and you reduce the other position offsetting, it would be budget neutral.
But you have one person doing two things that are valuable and they're doing more things, so wouldn't they want more money?
Yeah, so that's why one would be graded higher than what it is currently, and then the higher level responsibilities of the second position would be less than what they are now and be reduced.
But the
Are we
problem
making a little department? Is that what we're trying to do?
Well, there's already a department, so
you know what I mean. Combo in the two, and
how do we I guess the piece I'm struggling with is if you hire two people, you're going to have a benefit cost, and in fairness to the person you'd be hiring, you will have the benefit cost could be all over the board.
Well, no, so there's one vacancy. Only intend to hire one person.
That's what I was trying to clarify.
Okay, yeah, I apologize if that wasn't clear. Yeah, no, there's only one vacancy. So I guess that was probably Jim's confusion too. No,
Yeah.
so there's 2 FTEs currently, maintain 2 FTEs. Have one vacancy, plan to fill one vacancy. But the position, duties, and responsibilities will be different to some extent. If they're so different that I believe it's necessary to regrade the positions, I'd like the board's support to be able to do that within the approved budget.
What happens to the individual that's going to be changed? In other words, is going to receive less money than they currently are receiving. How are we going to handle that? That's another problem that I really, have a problem with that.
Go ahead, Connor.
Well, I didn't know if that was just a question or a statement. It didn't sound like a question, so I wasn't going to offer an answer unless he was looking for one.
I was really looking for one. I mean,
okay,
it really is. It's. I would like to hear, please.
Yeah. So the step 1 would be finalizing the determination of what 2 positions are in the best interest of the town, and that decision would partially be based on our existing talent and the retention of our existing talent. Step 2 would be identifying the proper individuals, the proper human capital for those 2 positions, and the advertising and hiring for the vacancy would be step 3. And so I intend to retain the authority that the board has delegated to me in hiring and assigning individuals to positions, and doing that in the town's best interest. But I think I think there's decisions that need to be made first.
Select person Mantrick.
Yes, it seems to me that this is really a pretty good model. If you have, I mean, but it's not like we have huge departments here, but if one of those people are out for whatever reason, then there would be another person who would be able to do both jobs. So I think that's a pretty good scheme. The difference in the cost of this, I think, will be pretty negligible. So I would certainly advocate for this suggestion here.
Any other discussion? Is there a motion?
Not sure how we state the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, the motion is.
I would like, I still would like to see that the chair and the vice chair work with them and just turn around and give the final approval on the end and how that works, instead of waiting to the April meeting. So this way here it could move on, whether it's done by email or whether it's done by telephone or by direct contact. Either way, but I think that would help speed it up if we allowed Dan and Jim turn around and do that part. So that's how would you make the motion is right to get all that included.
So how about a motion to allow Connor to move forward with the regrading of the positions concurrent with approval of the select board chair or vice chair if the chair is not available to make that adjustment.
I'm willing to. I think
not as
if we
eloquent
go,
as Tracy would say, but
right now we're putting it still back on one person, and that's why I made the motion for the 2 of us at least to turn around and have a word into it. But whatever way the motion goes, I would do that.
all right.
Yeah, and so what I'm hearing is that the select board is generally comfortable with it, but would be interested in the select board chair or vice chair to review more of the specifics to give the final go-ahead. I'm certainly comfortable with that.
Exactly put.
And I think that would meet my goal of working in a tighter timeline than waiting until the next select board meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, so I have a first and a second on that. Roll call vote.
There I.
Bailey, aye.
Manstrack, aye.
Sakoshai.
Nap aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you for allowing that to be put in there, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good suggestion, George. Just for the record, because I didn't catch it, not sure if Tiffany did, who was the first and who was the second?
I was the first. I made the motion.
Great.
I'll second. I was the second.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Then the 2021 roadside cleanup. And Connor, will you be speaking with this, or will Aaron?
I will. It's just an FYI for the community. You'll see a lot more on social media, on the website, and flyers posted up around. I included a flyer, excuse me, in the select board's packets. And so we're very happy for the 3rd annual roadside cleanup. It's been tremendously successful. We're very appreciative of all of the volunteers that help us clean up the streets of Barrington in the spring. So this closely coincides with Earth Day, just a couple of days later. It's definitely helpful if residents reach out to Erin ahead of time to register, so she can start getting an idea for where folks will be. But walk-ups are definitely welcome. And so, like I said, Saturday, April 24th, you can start picking up bags anytime at 8 a.m. If you coordinate with Aaron ahead of time, you can even pick up the bags ahead of time. You can pick up bags all the way through to 1 p.m. We ask that you bring those blue bags back to the transfer station by no later than 4 p.m. We have a separate open top dumpster for those blue bags. It's over on the highway side. You'll see signs, and we'll have some to-go hot dogs and snacks for the volunteers that come through. And so we'll have gloves for you, pickup bags, and a listing of where folks will be when you show up to register. So like I said, thank you in advance, everybody that will help. You'll see more about this. If you have any questions, contact Aaron and look for this flyer out and about.
Select person Sakosha.
I would also like to thank the future volunteers, but I also didn't want to forget, I wanted to thank Lynn Murphy for her service.
All right.
Thanks, Jim.
The next agenda item is the fire department has been offered a donation of a waterproof camera that's valued at approximately $300. The camera is being offered by Russ and Betsy Hayes, and the select person's being asked to consider the acceptance of the waterproof camera donation.
Motion to approve.
Or second?
All right. Roll call vote.
Here, I.
Bailey, aye.
Mancheck, aye.
Sakosha.
Nap aye.
Thank you to Russ and Betsy.
I think that's really nice of them. Really nice.
Yes, thank you, guys.
All right. Select persons reports. Select person air.
Due to medical conditions, I was not able to attend the last consultation. I apologize, but Con helped me tonight, and I appreciate his help.
Select person Bailey.
Thank you very much. The last meeting we had with the ZBA, there was only 3 members, and there was 2 cases that were there. The cases were moved. I motioned to move them to the next meeting so that they would have a chance to explain everything that was going. So those 2 were carried forward. Then go back. Then I also had a discussion with the library people. And one of the items that was concerned was that the article that was on the media from one of the library trustees was the fact that we should move the new town hall from the current position that we have talked about to up here on where the old schoolhouse was. And I tried to get some clarity from it, and clarity wasn't coming. I think there was some shock for the other members that the person would do that. So, but I just wanted to make everybody aware on the select board that that did come from somebody there, but I haven't found any backup or anything else, but it was there. So, you know, it's, people do not realize how much difficulty we have getting the town hall approved, having everything else taken care of over the last year or so. And but I just want to make everybody aware of what was coming up and how I covered it there, so nobody thinks that I was making board decisions on other people's pieces. Or anybody have any questions? I can answer that, Mr. Chairman, but it went away, so that was it.
All right. Select person Mantrek, is there anything you would like to add as a new member to the board?
Well, actually, it's, as an old member of the ABC, I'd report that the ABC met with 2 representatives of the Library Foundation, Virginia Showald and Nick Fenna. And they were basically doing a listening session. They're doing listening sessions all over town in various organizations. It was a pretty open discussion. I think the ABC expressed their concerns and their position on the library. There wasn't, no one asked for anything in particular, but they were listening, and I think they heard the ABC and the various opinions on ABC. They'll probably have more as we go on.
Select person Sakosha.
So for those who don't know or haven't heard, but there is a townwide egg hunt, which already has over 600 scans so far. And that's for the townwide egg hunt. It ends April 1. There's also a drive-through extravaganza, April 3rd, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And yeah, that's all the recs really got going on.
All right. The planning board meeting for the 16th was canceled. The technology committee met on voting day, but I was at voting, but I know Connor stepped out and attended that meeting. So if there's anything that you feel is important to pass on to the team here, I will defer to you on that.
Yeah, just a couple quick things. One thing which I'm actually really excited about. So for the last couple of meetings, the school IT director has joined our committee. I believe he intends to continue participating. And he not only is he a tremendous resource in helping the town work through our game plan from an IT perspective, but we've also started the preliminary steps of a combined incident response plan, so that in under circumstances we can combine forces and benefit from each other's infrastructure as appropriate. So nothing specific or formal in place now. Certainly the board will be involved in final decision making, but I think this is a great opportunity for collaboration with the school, and I really appreciate his time and interest in joining us. Another promising appointment we had at the last technology committee meeting was with the library. So it seems that there will be renewed opportunity to do really a similar thing, benefit from each other's shared resources and infrastructure for things like redundancy of internet connection and any local files or other opportunities from security auditing to security policies and data management. So I think those are really promising things, but the technology committee maintains a lot of progress on other tasks, moving the needle forward on keeping Barrington up with the 21st century.
Very good. That's good to hear. I know we have many challenges ahead of us with regard to technology in the town.
Yes.
Besides that, engineering committee's been all wrapped up, so that one is to bed. That was finished up at the last meeting, and we were able. I would like to thank Jesse Tennis and the rec for the donation I had offered many moons ago on the desks, and they were finally able to take advantage of those. So that was great for us to be able to get them over and help them out, and we're happy to be able to do that. And I think that is all the meetings that I have attended. So with that, I will open it up for final public comment.
We got March work anniversaries.
Oh,
I read through those at the March
still.
8th meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Read them again if you want. Thank you to the long tenured employees, certainly.
All right. So public comments.
So if you're participating on your phone, I see a few of you are, you can press *6 to unmute yourself and just speak up to let us know that you have a comment. If you're on your computer, you can raise your hand. You might have to unmute yourself or enter a chat into the chat box.
All right, I'll give it another 30 seconds. All right, then I will close public comment. We have non-public items to discuss this evening, so we will be going into non-public for
personnel and security.
Yeah, personnel and security. Very good. Motion to enter non-public.
Move. Go to non-public.
Yeah, I have a motion originally by Select Person Sakosha, seconded by Select Person Bailey. And we will enter non-public, discuss what we need, and then when we come out, we will come back to the public session to adjourn the meeting or make any announcements if necessary. All right.
Air aye.
Motion to go in, roll call vote to go enter non-public.
Air aye.
Bailey, aye.
Mantrek, aye.
Sakosha.
Nap aye. We'll see everyone over there.
How do we do this? Do I
So
hang and come in on the second time?
Yeah, so
Yes.
click the link under non-public in the email I sent you about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Yep,
Gotcha.
click that non-public link.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Oh, you beat Jim. Oh, George beat him too. Jim's taking a bio break.
Got Tiffany back.
Not bad. 8:42 for your first meeting as chair again.
I know. I'm like part 2. The
It's
return
only
of.
right. You finished your first term. Oh no, this is your second to last year. You finished your first term last time as chair, and now the second year of your term as chair. Yeah. Add it to the resume.
Wait, what'd you say? I finished my first term as chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll finish my second term as chair.
Wait, is this your last year?
It is.
Was Tracy chair 2 years in a row?
No. George was chair between Tracy and myself.
Oh. No, you. Is that right? I thought you were chair before Tracy.
Andy, you were
No.
chair when I was hired.
Was I really?
Yep.
Oh, then I guess I started my second term as chair. No, I was.
Oh, that is right. Yeah, because George was chair before you, Casey was chair before George, and what,
Yep.
Susan was chair your first year?
Susan Gaudiello, I believe so, yes.
Okay, yeah, so you started your first term, your second term as chair, and you're ending your second term as chair.
No, my first year, Casey was chair. And then the second year, I don't know.
Well, yeah, we have everybody.
Yeah. All right.
You were chair 2 years ago. So when I first came on the ABC.
Yeah, which would have been the last of my, would have been the last year of my term.
We'll do some
All right.
research.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay.
My
And this
camera
is-
doesn't want to come on. I was lost somewhere in cyberspace. Sorry, I can hear you though.
Okay.
Yeah, can you see it up in your upper right-hand corner, 4th tab in? You should be able to.
Upper right-hand corner, 4th tab in.
Yeah, it says leave meeting and then 3 tabs over. You should have your camera right there.
It might look different if he's in a web browser.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, it says pictures there. It just has a slash in it.
Oh.
Just click on it. That means you're not getting it.
So
I keep clicking it.
since we have the board back, I will make a motion to seal the minutes from non-public indefinitely due to security reasons. And am I missing anything there?
And
Second.
personnel to
And
protect
person-
reputation of those
and-
discussed. Yep.
Yeah, and personnel.
Second,
Second.
Air I.
Haley, aye.
Mantrek, aye.
Nap aye. All
Scotia.
right. Sorry, I went out of order. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
So
Aye.
moved. Second,
Yep. Roll
Air
call
I.
vote.
Haley, aye.
Mantrek, aye.
Scotia.
Nap aye. All right, everyone have a wonderful evening, and we will see you
April.
all on April
12.
12th. Yes, sir.